countless man hours that will be spent at the petrol stations today will reduce our productivity as a nation. This should not be so. GMB. This was a tweet by President Muhammadu Buhari on the 2nd of March 2015. At that time, he was the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress. Today, a couple of years down the line, we're experiencing the same thing. Today, we're going to discuss fuel scarcity situation in Nigeria. Welcome to And It's Just Tuesday. With me on the show this evening, we have...
My name is Dr. Laz Udeze. I'm a public health physician and a development enthusiast.
Okay, my name is Josephine Washima. I'm a public servant and I was a former special assistant to the president on job creation, President Goodluck Jonathan.
My name is Ilemon Anoja. I'm corporate solicitor, very angry Nigerian.
I like that. Everybody is actually upset at the moment. We have a couple of clips from different filling stations which will be imputed into this particular production. And then at some point, we'll have to take our interview to the filling stations so that Nigerians and people viewing can actually see that we're talking about the issue real time. Josephine, before we came on air, we were talking about the president leading from the front. You're trying to show me something. You want to shed some light on that vis-a-vis the fuel station in the country?
President leading from the front, yes. Because, you see, first of all, we have a president who has always been within the petroleum sector. He was one time Minister for Petroleum, I think in the 70s. And he was also one time Chairman PTDF when the military head of state, Abacha's administration. So we felt, or Nigerians felt, that a man like that, being the president of the country, would be able to handle the fuel situation. And he also promised that he was going to take responsibility for whatever happens and fix it if he becomes president. That was before 2015. But what we're seeing now is not what is going on. What we're seeing now is a president who doesn't seem to care so much about what Nigerians, what Nigerians are going through and what Nigerians feel, especially with the last, he just released a message to Nigerians, and in that message, I didn't see a human face.
In fact, it's not just a message. He first of all came out with a Christmas wish for Nigerians.
Yeah.
Without any mention of fuel scarcity. And then after a while, they now came up with a statement on the fuel issue. That to me comes across as if it's an afterthought.
Why did he come up with the statement of the fuel issue? And I don't think there's any need to be nice about this. The only reason why the president spoke about the fuel issue is because perceived candidate or a possible candidate for the People's Democratic Party for the presidential elections in 2019 spoke about it first. And this administration has put itself in a place where once Alhaji Abubakar Atiku speaks about anything, they will respond. Now, for several days, it has been a wisecrack on social media that until Atiku speaks about the fuel scarcity, government will not speak about it. Today, like clockwork, Alhaji Abubakar tweeted about the fuel scarcity at 7:28 a.m. this morning. At 1:19 p.m., President Buhari, who has forgotten about this fuel scarcity since December 4th, when it started 3 weeks ago, suddenly remembers his voice. And all of a sudden, one of the many illnesses that plagues him into submission and prevents him from conversing about the things that plague us, all of a sudden, he's talking about this administration is completely tone deaf. Only 2 days ago, the vice president was showing us pictures of him and his wife putting on Christmas. Who cares about that? And I'm saying that with the absolute most respect. I have pictures from 2015 that shows him entering BRT buses and asking Nigerians and complaining that at the time 87 naira was too much to pay for fuel. All of a sudden, we're paying 145, we cannot find fuel, and you are telling me that what should interest me as a Nigerian citizen at that point in time is pictures of you in, my goodness sake, Santa will come into the chimney in the night. What's that?
Picking back on what you said, that this administration has been tone deaf, it took 3 weeks for us to get this statement.
Right.
In same times, so to say, the president will actually address the nation.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think this administration, they are taking Nigerians for granted.
Has this
Just
administration
a half-page statement
They have made.
that sympathizes with
I wish I can read it.
and not
This is
apologizing
it.
to Nigerians.
Just 3 paragraphs. No apology. No.
Sympathize with Nigerians. The party empathize with Nigerians. The president sympathize with Nigerians.
Dr. Laz, you are a doctor. Apart from just complaining and looking for fuel, there are also health implications to this thing. Going to spend serious hours in the filling station, you inhale ethanol and whatever it is called. Can you shed some light on this?
Yes, a whole lot of health implications, beginning from the mental trauma. Before you leave your house, going to think, who knows how long I'm going to stay at the filling station. So you're already stressed. So the mental stress begins. You move your vehicle to filling station. The long queue that, the one at Kono from the 360, the Kono in Abuja, right opposite the NNPC headquarters, did a 360 tour. So someone gets there, they're agitated and complaining. Before you know it, people begin to argue. So under a stress situation, there are some hormones that are released in the body, stress hormones. They alter the physiology of the system. I wouldn't want to go so much into the details of the physiology, but stress, of course, is not
It's a killer.
in this kind of situation. Then a lot of people buy petrol in containers, and they take it home. So either for generator or to keep, so that when the one in the vehicle goes, they top it up. That's a whole lot of risk. Something I'm so usually very scared of, because I've had a patient at the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital. A very young man was admitted with a brother. They both had burn injuries. And it was during a fuel scarcity situation like this. So one was pouring petroleum, and the sister passed with a lantern. So the thing caught fire. So the guy sustained, one of them sustained severe burns, more than 50 degrees, severe burn. The brother had, this wasn't quite severe. Within a week, we lost that young man.
Oh my God.
And for severe burns, a lot of times the facilities to even manage it requires so much and all that. And the sister, was having a huge sense of guilt. So this aspect of fire and all that, when you have scarcity like this, there's so much of that risk that the population is exposed to. Then what about inhaling fuel, both those at the station and those that keep it in the room and those that transport it in the car? Someone was discussing with me the other day, I was like, he entered the car behind Abuja, and it was all about fuel. And it's like the driver said, this is how we operate. So when you hit that over a period of time, some of these are carcinogenic. So later in life, you could begin to have some interesting mutations in the cells that can even lead to cancer. So people spend much more money than they normally used to buying black market, or those outside Abuja that are buying 300, 500, per liter.
Those who can afford.
For those who can afford it. So that's a lot of pressure on their pockets for a period that's usually a lot of spendings, family coming together and everything happening. So, and that also puts additional stress. And what if someone gets ill? It means the money you could use to pay for the hospital treatment will not even be there, because over 70% of healthcare expenditure in this country is out of pocket.
I totally agree with you. Now I want to remove the aspect of being partisan from the issue, because both PDP members, APC members, APDA members, ANN members, COA party members, everybody is suffering the same thing. So let's remove party from it. When doing that, I want to come back to the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan. After the the 2011 crisis, fuel crisis that we had, where TV stations were almost going to shut down, where telecoms companies were trying to shut down and all that because of lack of fuel, because they wanted to increase fuel price.
Yeah.
I don't think we experienced any fuel scarcity again till now.
No, we didn't. No, hold on. We did.
We did?
We did. During President Goodluck Jonathan's time, right? There were periods when Nupeng or Pengassan would go on strike.
Yeah.
And as a result of the inability to move products around, because we still rely on the manual movement using trucks, there will be periods of scarcity. So we did have scarcity during otherwise. However, we never had a major shutdown until just before the elections, late 2014, early 2015.
Which is what we said was sabotage or something.
Well,
No.
see, the reality of it all is this,
Yeah.
right? I believe in the buck stopping somewhere,
Yes.
right? And as president of the country, president, commander-in-chief, and whatever have you, the buck stops at your table. So the fact that it's occurring in the first place means that we're going to come and question you. We run a system of unitary federalism that ensures that everything comes back to the president's table. And so we're going to leave that buck there on the president's table, regardless of who is president. So as much as we were condemning and critical of President Goodluck Jonathan when there were periods of fuel scarcity during his time, we will maintain that tempo and be condemning and critical, particularly, and I'll tell you what, there's a difference. This is where the fundamental difference in the nature of handling the whatever fuel crisis existed is. With President Goodluck Jonathan, there was a constant attempt at communicating with you. So you would either have the former Minister of Petroleum, Dizani Alice Madweke, on TV, or you have the chairman of the MD of NNPC on TV, or sometimes you even have the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy on television. There was a constant attempt to tell you, this is how many million liters of fuel we need per day. This is how many million liters that we have imported. This is how many days we require to send it out. This is how many days you expect that this would have sorted itself out.
Exactly.
3 weeks. Nothing. And this is not the first time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Last year, there was a 3-month period, protracted 3-month period.
Yeah.
Did we hear anything from the president? Absolutely not. And why do we keep going back to the president? Because the president occupies a tripartite portfolio when it comes to the distribution of petroleum products in the country. He's president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He's minister of petroleum. He's chairman of the board of NNPC. So I'm not going to go anywhere else. Particularly when they've made it very clear that the minister of state for petroleum is little more than a fancy dressed person who has nothing to do. They've made it very clear.
It was actually on TV today.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of outbursts on social media saying, what's he saying?
What's he saying?
What's he saying?
And you know, the issue of petroleum goes beyond. It's also a policy issue. Now, if we all recall, during President Goodluck Jonathan's administration, he tried to deal with the issue of petroleum by removal of subsidy. We all know what happened. This country was shut down by persons like Pastor Bakare, Nigerian celebrities coming out, movie, actors. People were sleeping with mattresses on the road and telling President Goodluck Jonathan, and petrol was at 87 naira a liter at that time, and telling the president at that time, that you cannot remove subsidy. And this government now, the present administration, has gone back to what the president at that time was experiencing. If they don't look at this issue critically, the issue goes beyond what we see as ordinary Nigerians. The issue is...
Okay, I'm just angry. I'm just very angry. I just have a lot of things to say because I'm angry.
The issue we have to look at the subsidy policy of the country.
Hold on. Is there still subsidy?
Let's announce that they paid some subsidy.
Let's remove that fraud. Let's remove the fraud. Let's remove the fraud.
I didn't hear that. Hold on.
They're paying over 20 naira per liter.
Let's remove the fraud.
There's subsidy. Yeah,
let's
there's
remove
some
the fraud. I will go back there. What has the Buhari administration done? What previously used to occur was that marketers would import petroleum products, right? They will sell at a particular price. Government will pay them the difference in cost between the price they are selling and the cost that their landing cost. So assuming they imported at 95 naira and they were selling at 85 naira, government will pay them an 8 naira price difference, right? Mm-hmm. What the Buhari administration has done is that it has internalized the subsidy. So instead of paying it out, NNPC, who is the sole importer of petroleum products at this point in time, pays within itself. So you don't see NNPC's books. So you don't know how much NNPC is paying in subsidy costs. Sure. But the Independent Marketers Association did a press conference yesterday that said that they had been importing at 154. So that means there was an 8 naira minimum. Well, we're buying 105, I mean. 9 naira, 145, 145. There's a 9 naira. So we weren't seeing that because NNPC had internalized it. Now, the fact we know what NNPC is, once you're in that glass house, that tower, that is the citadel of corruption. So once there's an internalization and you cannot even scrutinize it, the foundation for monumental corruption has been laid with quick cement so that it has dried and cascaded and people are tracking this money. One. So I'll now ask myself, why will you be making me suffer? If you're going to be putting yourself in a position where you can be stealing money on this level, why am I suffering? See, fundamentally, we also have to go and ask, what is the complaint about? The complaint is that we're importing, marketers are saying that they're accessing, what they call it, that this thing is being sold, Forex is being, they're supposed to access Forex at 305 naira per dollar. However, we all know that that's not the reality. So, this is where governments policies affect everybody else. Exactly. The foundation for all this is the Buhari administration's useless and absolutely abominable FX policies. Until it fixes FX policies, Nigeria is in a cycle.
If foreign exchange,
if the price of oil in the international market goes up, we will have our reserves going up, right? But because we're importing petroleum products, the price of fuel locally will go up. If the price of oil in the international market comes down, it will affect our reserves, which will come down and put pressure on the dollar, on the value of the naira against the dollar, so that when you are still importing, the price goes up. So Nigeria is a cycle that whether or whether, excuse the parlance as we say on the streets, we're just here. The Buhari administration has set us up to in that place. If we go, we die. If we stay, if we die. Come on now. Come on, right?
I like the way you ended. I like that summation.
The only thing that is remaining, I'm very sorry. The only thing that is remaining is that all of us should become like Dino Melaye. And then we are singing Ajekuya. We are all suffering.
Like you said, this fuel scarcity does not know party lines.
Exactly.
The other day we saw the governor of Plateau State buying black market, and he's an APC governor. So what we're discussing here has nothing, absolutely, to do with politics.
I want to read it.
It has more to do with what Nigerians are going through.
I totally agree with you. I want to read a tweet by Governor El-Rufai. He tweeted this on the 3rd of March 2014. He said, "Create fuel scarcity, so at least we will stop focusing on the missing billions. Smart move. But Nigerians are smarter now." I want to ask a question. Do you think the scarcity now is being created intentionally to distract us from
absolutely, but from the $1 billion that is the reason why we have scarcity right now. According to verify,
I don't agree.
According to
if you believe me, I'll take over the show.
According to verify,
if you believe me, I'll take over the show.
Do you know how many hours I spent on the queue today? I have to do a short video celebrating and dancing, after filling my tank.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of distrust between us and the government, and it's even worse this period because the current administration, with due respect, feels that communicating with Nigerians it doesn't matter. It's doing us a favor. Many times it's when they are out of the country that they get to respond. So perhaps Mr. President stated this not because he hasn't maybe made a major trip.
Exactly.
So people can come up with this, a lot of conspiracy theories. Nothing can actually be completely ruled out. When this scarcity stuff started, we were being blamed. Nigerians were being blamed. That is panic buying. We have the GMD.
Saying that people feel their tanks and then do not want to
there's panic buying. At some point, they say GMD cancelled his trip to go and collect an award. As if they are doing Nigerians a favor, which is even an indictment. Because if you are a team player, things have to move whether you are physically there or not. So I wouldn't know why you can't really take out anything. We are not happy as citizens of the country, and for these things to be happening, from blaming the citizens to some people insinuating that okay, I think today the GMD today was reported to have said that people buy fuel and they don't leave. And someone comically said perhaps the filling station has become so attractive.
Yes.
And it's now a tourist destination for people to spend their Christmas holidays and all that. It's so disrespectful to the Nigerian people.
I agree with you. And moving forward, President Buhari, the Nigerian people, they deserve to hear your voice. We deserve to hear from you. Let me take another tweet from the APC handle, the ruling party, their handle. They said they talked about there not being first scarcity, and that what we're having now
initially
is an artificial creation. It wasn't even initially, it was just a couple of days, and Nigerians went mad on social media. So I think there's now a disconnect between the ruling party and the administration proper.
It is a Nigerian, in many ways, it is a Nigerian problem, right? But this government is taking it to obscene levels. Typically, Nigerian governments quickly enter into a them versus us defensive mode.
Yeah.
Right? And so, rather than working towards solving the problem, people find the reason why the opposition is trying to use this to create a false impression. That is the work of the opposition.
Their work is to oppose.
It's to oppose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so if I find something to use and make you look clueless, incompetent, inept, and whatever, without if you had sense, you will see the opportunity and you take advantage of the opportunity. In the last couple of weeks, this government has missed a couple of critical opportunities. I'll give you an example. NSARS. It was an opportunity to deliver on the campaign promise for reforming the Nigerian police. They took a defensive position. Now, it's Christmas, it is the end of the year. People are asking, why don't we have fuel? Why do we have to spend several hours on filling station queues to buy fuel? Why are we buying fuel at 300, 400, 450, 500 naira per litre? It is the opportunity to say, you know what, let us do a holistic reform of the petroleum sector. Again, the government is missing the opportunity. And so it takes a defensive position and then puts out ridiculous and absolutely asinine tweets, communications, public speeches, whatever, as the one that we've seen on the APC handle. For goodness sake, today, Femi Adesina, the senior special advisor to the president on media and publicity, decides that it is today, 24th of December, when people are spending countless man-hours trying to purchase fuel so that they can have some semblance of sanity and joy and peace and love, which is all what the Christmas is supposed to embody and signify, he decides to insult our collective intelligence by telling us that the best explanation that they can give to us is the documentary called The Human Side of Buhari. Did we see an animal side before?
Exactly.
Were we seeing an alien side?
We never said Buhari was an animal.
So is he telling us that Buhari is not a human being? What we have not been seeing since? I don't understand.
Yeah.
If you're not angry, no, you see, I think this is what the problem is. As Nigerians, we do not get angry enough. Sometimes we should get angry and say, you know what, this is done. Don't wreck our life like this. Somebody told me, I saw a tweet on Twitter 2 days ago. Somebody said that they were in a queue. He was in a queue. And in front of him, there were just 2 cars in front of him. There were 2 girls in an ambulance with the corpse of their dead father. Their father had just passed that morning. They couldn't get him to a hospital. They couldn't take him to the mortuary because no fuel. So the ambulance came and joined the filling station queue. And they were there for hours until the filling station owner came out and saw them. Somebody went to go and tell him that he asked, see what's going on the queue in front of your filling station. And then the filling station owner came and saw them and then said, you know what, come and fill your tanks. The little I can do is fill your tanks for free. Go. But you see, that brings home the absolute suffering that Nigerians are suffering. We need to get angry. And before anybody comes and tells me that I'm pro-PDP, yes, I'm pro-PDP. But you see, we need to get angry with our governments at all levels. This sort of mediocrity, this sort of getting used to...
Onoja, I really feel what you're feeling. I mean, that story about the ambulance, it really got to me. When I saw the tweet, I was just trying to imagine, as in picture the scenario.
Yeah.
It's very, very
Put yourself in the shoes of those
Nigerians
people.
shouldn't be going through this at this particular time. And it's just sad. Yeah. It's just sad. And I think Nigerians, as Onoja said, we are not angry enough. We're not placing enough demands on our leaders to say, you said you were coming to do this, you were coming to do this. You're not doing it. Exactly. You lied to us, because that's what it means.
Absolutely.
President Buhari came in, one of his frontline campaign messages was, I will end Boko Haram in 6 months. I will end Boko Haram. You would think that when he comes in, he will become the Minister of Defense.
Exactly.
But he chose to become Minister of Petroleum. And even at that, we're experiencing this. I personally, there's nothing anybody can tell me. He has failed me. He has failed Nigerians.
Totally.
Well, let's not continue talking about the problem. He still has 2 years, 18 months or thereabout to rectify.
Yeah.
We will be going to the field, to the filling stations, go for everybody to see what's happening, do some interviews there. But before we go, I would like to have some input on what can be done. What can we do to address this issue? This scourge of every Christmas there must be fuel scarcity. What can we do? Jocelyn, let's go with you. Let's say ladies first.
As we were saying, there are a number of things that can be done to fix the fuel situation. First of all, we all know, to be fair, that usually during Christmas there's a fuel scarcity. Why is that so? It's because probably the marketers want to make more profit, or the marketers are just not being fair to Nigerians. But President Muhammadu Buhari had promised that, look, when he comes in as president, he's going to, fix the issue. But let's leave that aside. The issue of subsidy is one of the things that can be done to address the fuel challenge. Now, subsidy, it's better for us to allow the marketers to control the price of fuel. Let's use the telecommunication sector, for instance. When they started, some people were buying SIM cards for as much as 20,000. I don't know if any of you here experienced that. But now, they are virtually free because market forces has made that to be so. So if they allow that sector, the marketers, to determine the prices of petroleum, eventually there will be competition within that sector, and that competition will force the prices down. For me, that is the most logical way to address the issue of fuel scarcity at any point. It's like I said earlier, it's a policy thing. It's something that we have to go back to the policy and look at it and readdress the issue, with the realities of the current times that we're in.
I totally agree with you, because I think it's only commonsensical, so to say. You can't set prices in a sector you have already regulated.
Exactly.
That's why I asked that question: is there still subsidy? I mean, I expected, which was one of the reasons I was against President Goodluck's
administration.
no, not administration. The way he handled the fuel subsidy issue.
Okay.
If you say you are removing subsidy, allow the market naturally determine the price. If you remove the subsidy, everybody will try and make the best of it. But with time, it will get saturated. Corn oil will look at it. They want more markets. They'll bring down to 143. But one day we'll say, everybody's going to corn oil because it's 143. They'll bring down to 142.50.
Exactly.
Then FO will now say, 142. No, I need to get the market 141. Before you know, everything will stabilize. But it's because the government tries to maintain a certain kind of hold through corruption.
Exactly.
That's why we're still in this mess that we are right now. Dr. Laz, they told us that the whole problem Nigeria has is corruption. That once they come, they will fix corruption and Nigeria will be okay. What is your take vis-a-vis corruption on this particular issue?
Well, that's, politicians usually have a narrative they want to push. Is there corruption in Nigeria? Yes, there is, and not just Nigeria, everywhere in the world. So corruption is not a native of Nigeria. There is corruption everywhere. But, what do we need to do in the petroleum sector? There's been a lot of solutions, and we know the solutions. The leaders, they know the solutions. It's the political will to make it happen. Perhaps when they are outside, they understand it better. When they come in, they see the certain benefits in quotes, and they wouldn't want to lose that. Perhaps they want to have that benefit, or perhaps in the second tenure they will, whatever it is. But it looks to me like what is playing out in the petroleum sector, where we take our crude, sell it, the person refines, and we buy back. So it's like somebody planting cassava, harvests it, and sells the cassava stem, and now imports gari.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening.
That's
how long will it take us as a country to be able to refine what we are consuming? Mm-hmm. How long will that take? And for since I started listening to news, I'm hearing turnaround maintenance of refineries, and
nothing has turned around.
Every year you have budget for it. The turning around has not been completed. And that's one of the key campaign issues this administration, that they will come in, they will eliminate corruption, and when they eliminate corruption, they will get the refineries fully functional, and will be able to, so I don't know, I can't really answer if corruption is being eliminated, but what I know as a Nigerian that wanted change, I voted for this change, and I'm personally disappointed that I'm not getting any of the results I expected. So, that's, as a Nigerian, all the big grammar, all I just need is drive, whether it's December, whether it's April, whether it's October, drive into a gas station, fuel my car without worries. There are so many things we worry about. Can at least one be solved? The response is the same, irrespective of the administration. We have scarcity, they say it's panic buying, they blame it on marketers. Which marketer would not want to sell market and make profit, and just want to create hardship for everyone?
This blame game is the one that annoys me the most. The president has never taken responsibility for anything.
But
so you are blaming past administration, or you are blaming marketers, but never himself.
I'm being blamed for panic buying.
Or panic buying. Anyways, we're about to head out to the field now to go see and show everybody what's actually happening. But before I do that, let me read one or two tweets. This is coming from just to show that it's not just us here that Ogbeni Dipo said, a documentary showing the soft or hard side of Buhari at this point in time is dead insensitive and uncalled for. At least postpone it by 3 weeks after the mess of the fuel scarcity is over. These people keep making needless mistakes. The bar is so low, it's unbelievable.
Absolutely low.
That's from Ogbeni Dipo. Another one, Ajiboye at T_reformer. Architect and Mrs. Bamidele Victoria Sampson own Bovas Petroleum Limited. During this fuel scarcity, they still sell fuel at 143 naira per litre. They have shown to be patriotic citizens, and the masses will continue to appreciate them for their kind gestures. We will not forget. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Let's have the final word from everybody before we leave. I know you're so upset. I can feel it right from here. I can feel the fire. But hold on. Let's have 30 seconds. Your time starts now.
Everybody should take this anger that you feel. The anger, the disappointment, the disillusionment, the discomfort, the inconvenience. Bottle it. Right? And preserve it until 2019. Then pick up your PVC and vote for any candidate other than the person of Muhammad Buhari. That is all.
Thank you very much.
You know what? I just agree totally with Onoja. If we don't change this change is going to kill us. Now, because we all have seen, Nigerians have seen that nothing has changed really. And next time, what I want to tell Nigerians is next time when someone promises you change, please ask them, what type of change do you mean?
Douglas, Doctor.
Well, for me, there's 18 months of getting things right. The administration has spent 2.5 and has 1.5. I want to see a better Nigeria. I want this administration to succeed, because if it succeeds, Nigeria is succeeding. So I want to see 18 months of action. I want to see 18 months of respecting Nigerians. I want to see 18 months of keeping, at least solving one problem. There are so many. If it's just to solve one major problem that every Nigerian would say, yes, this has been solved, that's what I look forward to.
All right, I'm still on you. Any particular health advice in this period for people who are going to look for fuel? Just any particular advice?
It's very dangerous to be keeping petroleum, either putting it in the jerry can, in the vehicle and traveling. It may get hot and fire could just explode. It's dangerous to keep it at home and sleep in that same place. So as much as possible, we know it's tough, but these are very risky. I don't own a generator. It took me a while to save up to get an inverter and a solar panel, because of what I saw in plastic units in the hospital where I worked. So those pictures always play in my head. Most of the clients we have are from burn injuries, and they are largely related to fuel. And a lot of that is happening unreported. So whatever it is, everything that is happening affects our health, whether it's mental health, physical health, like if there's a fire outbreak somewhere and the fire service vehicle doesn't have fuel, it can't go to rescue. So for us as Nigerians, let's keep asking questions. Let's be active. Like I said, I voted for Mr. President based on certain expectations, and I'm not happy that the way it's happening. And I have the right to ask questions, to demand that Mr. President keep your promise. And even if you didn't vote for Mr. President, you also have the right as because it's the president of all Nigerians to demand that. So this is not a period everyone is suffering, irrespective tribe, religion, whatever it is. Okay. And if things are working, it works for all Nigerians. So it's not about party or politics, it's about making Nigeria work. That's the least we expect.
It's still and it's just Tuesday. We're heading to the field now. See you in a bit.
Welcome to And It's Just Tuesday. Remember, I said we were going to the field to bring you practical things and show you practical things that are happening today on Christmas Day. You can see this is where people are spending the early hours of their Christmas, and it's been like this for the past 3 weeks. This morning, President Buhari tweeted, and let me read, "I wish all Nigerians happy Christmas celebration. As I noted yesterday, the fuel scarcity has caused many of you to spend this period on fuel queues and is deeply regretted. All relevant agencies of government are working around the clock to bring relief to you." People on social media responded because they are angry. Bring relief to you? You are sounding like preachers. Maybe you need his help to deploy his Commissioner of Happiness to bring relief to the millions of refugees in the big cap called Nigeria. Mr. President, you have failed. And that person said, please don't even try to console anybody on this crap. Don't even bring politics on this one. How do you explain the increments from 87 naira to 145 and now 250 naira per litre? What should I focus on? Park for your lane, do your own focusing, and leave me alone. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been awesome and it's just Tuesday. I have with me Ilimona Kingonoja, Dr. Laz Ude, and Josephine Washima. Final words from you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Nigerians. Today is Christmas, and it's a day that a lot of Nigerians anticipate to be in their home, play with their children, watch TV, have some good rest. And of course, the Christians among us will go to church, come back and think about the birth of Jesus Christ. The non-Christians will see it as a resting day. After all, the government have declared public holidays. But here we are. Looking behind me, you see the Total Petroleum headquarters, and you see a corn oil filling station. It's very popular in Central Area District of Abuja. And directly opposite it is the headquarters of the Nigerian National Petroleum Commission, the NNPC. And you could also see the long queues. These queues went about 360 degrees, getting to the filling stations. This is the situation we find ourselves. This is how Nigerians are spending Christmas. Some of them slept here. Yesterday, I spent 3 good hours at the filling station to be able to fill my tank. A lot of Nigerians felt I was very lucky, and I agree with them because I know people who spend over 7 hours to do same. So, why am I concerned? I'm a public health physician. These have severe health implications on the population. If we are to track the data and see the effects of this situation on the health of Nigerians, it will definitely be humongous. Apart from the economic implications, that it depletes the pockets of the average Nigerian and reduces the amounts available for them to spend on feeding, it affects the nutrition. And when the nutrition is affected, of course, malnutrition reduces the immunity of the body and makes it vulnerable to getting sick. Well, we can say it's Christmas, and today a lot of people have food to share and all that, yes. Some might eat and have what we call gastroenteritis, diarrhea disease, and all sorts. So, how do they treat themselves? What if you have a child that have diarrhea disease or vomiting based on food poisoning and lose so much fluid? You prepare, you use ORS, he or she vomits, and you need to take that child to the hospital to get some drip, and the vehicle has no fuel to convey the child to the hospital. Or let's say you have another medical emergency, because emergencies happen every day, and he didn't say it's Christmas, it won't happen. And you go to a hospital, and they do not have fuel to power the generator to carry out a procedure, a life-saving procedure. Or imagine a pregnant woman who enters into labor today and needs to go to a health facility to get best possible quality of care and have her baby peacefully. Or a pregnant woman who is in another health facility and is having obstructed labor and need to go to a general hospital or a teaching hospital to be able, to have cesarean section and have the baby come out well, and they go there and there's no fuel for the generator. Or imagine a private hospital carrying out a surgical procedure and the generator goes off because fuel has been exhausted and there's no fuel to refuel and continue that procedure. These are real life situations, and this is what this is all about. Mr. President, you are the Minister of Petroleum. You are the President of this country. You have all it takes to find lasting solution to this problem. We can't keep going around the circle. It's high time Nigeria found lasting solution to this country. This is why people like me voted for you, because we experienced this over years, and I thought I expected an administration that will come and put an end to it. So far, it's not happening. You are giving me the excuses the previous administration gave that got me upset, and I voted for this change. The least you can do is to use the the remaining 18 months to do something and get this problem fixed. It's not rocket science. Use your political will, throw it behind it, Mr. President, and fix this problem. This is a mess.
Good morning, everybody. It's Christmas morning. Typically, Abuja streets would be empty. Would be at home, or in church, or somewhere where we'll be celebrating and commemorating the end of the year and the festivities that occasion Christmas. However, like most Nigerians across the country, we're spending our day on a filling station queue. This is not exactly what the plan was. Now, I'll make bold to say that I never believed in the capacity of the Buhari administration to deliver any sort of dividends of democracy, as we like to say, or an improvement in the quality of our well-being and welfare. However, as we can see today, I think even President Buhari himself will be shocked at how astonishingly he has failed Nigerians. This is not what we expected. This is not what we deserve. This is not what life should be. Now, a lot will be said in the next few days about dealing with the fuel scarcity and dealing with the attendant economic problems that it causes. We're probably going to be drawn into a debate about the need to remove subsidies or to liberalize the downstream sector of the Nigerian petroleum industry, or whatever have you. The sum total of all this is all coming too late. We've probably suffered the effects of this scarcity for 3 weeks now. We have suffered the effects of this scarcity for 3 weeks. In that time frame, as a country, our economy has lost billions of naira, and our people have suffered an untold and unquantifiable amount of suffering. What happens to that? Your guess is as good as mine. I'll end this by saying Merry Christmas. Not because the government is trying to make our Christmas merry, but because in defiance of government, and in spite of all its rabid attempts at making our lives simply more difficult and our economy simply worse, we will have a Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, you know what? The matter don't reach where I will speak pidgin English right now, because yesterday we did studio, we did speak big English, but the thing is that I am spending Christmas on a queue here with everybody. Everybody say it's sad. It's sad. So the matter don't reach where, no, English, I'll keep on my side and see Nigerians. This is the truth now. APC, PDP, this queue, we don't know who be APC, we don't know who be PDP for here. This queue is Nigerians. This is the reality. Today is Christmas, 25th of December, and Nigerians are on the queue, spending Christmas on the queue, and I am here with them. I am also spending my Christmas on the queue. This is NNPC Towers. This is corn oil. This is Abuja. Nigerians, this is it. We must do something. What do we want? What do we want to do? What do we want for ourselves? What do we want for our country? Our leaders must get up and give us a solution. That is why we elected them as leaders into whatever offices they are. I'm done. I'm done talking.
Thank you very much for bringing this issue of fuel scarcity to the consciousness of Nigerians. I love the discussion. It was very rich, and I'm sure and hope that Mr. President will listen and take corrections.
Don't worry.
Well,
You'll listen this.
maybe we'll try and put it in form of cartoons, because I understand he loves cartoons. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Till next time, see you on And It's Just Tuesday.